What's up, my beautiful Do Life and a Body You Love chicks? We are going to talk about fat loss today and specifically how to keep weight off, not just lose it. So if you are catching me on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on the podcast, leave a review if you can do that. That would be wonderful. Share it with your friends. Let's spread the word about how to stop dieting and live a healthier, happier, more balanced life. That is what we're all about here. So here's the deal. Maybe y'all have noticed that losing weight and keeping it off are actually two different skill sets. Okay. Most people can lose weight, at least a little bit, but have a very hard time keeping it off. And there's a couple of things that go into that. Okay. There's two hard and fast rules that are absolutely non-negotiable if you want to keep weight off of your body. And here's the deal. We have to have a very long-term perspective if we want to keep weight off. Because when we are short-sighted in this, we constantly are chasing after things that crash our metabolism, that don't work long-term, that are not meant to be sustained. And then we're all surprised when it's not sustainable and we put the weight back on. And I did this forever. I would do like this diet or that diet or whatever. And I would, if I could stick with it, which I rarely could. So let's just put that out there. I was terrible at sticking to diets. I had no willpower to speak of. I ate like a total toddler. If you guys haven't heard me tell this story before, my name growing up was Nikki Noodle. And it wasn't just because it rhymed and it was cute. I just love pasta. Okay. And pizza rolls and Pop-Tarts were usually my dinner of choice when I worked in the hospital. Like my friends who were in shape would look at me and be like, that is literally what you're eating for dinner tonight at like 3 a.m. at the nurse's station. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Whatever. Like my eating habits were terrible. And then I would diet for 3 days and then binge. If I did stick with a diet, I would lose weight and then I would go right back to doing what I was doing before. And I would just put the weight back on. And it was this crazy cycle until I finally smartened up and said, well, I'm really sick of doing this. What else am I going to do? And that is when I became obsessed with long-term weight loss and realized it is completely different than all of the things that we do to lose weight. Keeping weight off is completely different. It's why my weight loss program is called the Keep It Off Academy. I don't teach rapid weight loss. I don't teach gimmicky weight loss. Learning how to lose weight and keep it off it's a whole different beast. But here's the 2 rules that you must follow. Number 1, whatever you do to take the weight off, you have to be able to do forever. So I used to think it was appropriate to be like, okay, well, I'll do whatever diet and lose the weight, and then I'll just eat healthy when I'm done, and I won't put the weight back on. And it's not true. It's not true because you just have to learn how to eat healthy for whatever your body wants, whatever it means for your body. You have to be learning that along the way. Otherwise, you're going to rebound weight gain hard. So if you're following a program right now to lose weight and you're counting down until it's done, you can't stand doing it. Or maybe you're like, as far as diets go, this one's not bad. I kind of like the food that I'm eating and blah, 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 but you know that you're not going to stick with it. It's not even part of the plan. Like you're planning to stop it when you hit your goal. You're not going to keep the weight off. You need to switch, abort mission right now because you're going to put the weight back on. Your body's going to be in worse shape. Okay. Because when we struggle back and forth with our weight, that's actually more taxing on our body than slow and steady weight loss. It's also more taxing on our minds because we feel like a failure, because we get these food rules stuck in our head. So we may logically understand that there's nothing bad for you about a sweet potato, right? There's not a whole lot of people that are going to argue that point and say sweet potatoes are terribly toxic. Most people aren't going to say that. However, if you've been a low carb dieter for a long time, you view sweet potatoes as something to be avoided when trying to lose weight. Even if logically you know, this is a food that's good for me. But we get these rules from different diets stuck in our brain, right? Who thinks grapefruit is a magical weight loss food? I still feel that way because I watched my mom do grapefruit diets as a child, right? And so I'm like, oh, there's some magical thing about grapefruits. And we just get all these notions in our head. And then our brain wants to default back to that. And so however you lose it, you gotta be able to stick with it. So make it super sustainable. Okay. Then rule number 2 is that whatever you do to lose weight, it must not be crashing your metabolism. So even if what you're doing is very sustainable and you're like, yeah, I could eat like this forever and always. Well, even if you could eat that way forever and always, but it's lowering your metabolism, eventually you're still going to have to eat less food. And then thereafter, you're going to have to eat less food again. And like, it gets to the point where it's like, well, how much less food are you going to eat? So no joke. And this is not said in judgment. I have plenty of people who come to me who are not overeating. In fact, they're eating very little and they're gaining weight. And what most people do is tell these people that they're lying. I see coaches tell these patients that they're lying. It's not patients, sorry. I see coaches tell their clients that they're lying. I see doctors tell their patients that they're lying because they think there's no way this person is really eating this little amount of food and gaining weight. And I'm here to tell you, I've seen it. I've seen it with my 2 own eyes. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what research study you want to throw at me about how it's all calories in and calories out. I don't care. Here's what I'm telling you. You can undereat and slow down your metabolism and then gain weight. And so sometimes I've worked with women who are eating 400 calories and they're not losing any weight. They're not gaining, but they're maintaining. They're maintaining their weight on 400 calories a day. So here's why I'm telling you this is because that is for sure a slow metabolism, right? And so here's what happens. We all try to lose weight over the course of decades. And every time we do it, we slow our metabolism down a little bit. And then the next time we do it, we slow our metabolism down a little bit more. And then you get to the point where you think, man, I basically have to starve myself to lose weight. Or nothing that I used to do works to lose weight anymore. And it gets very frustrating. And it's usually happening to us, for some women, it's as young as 35, but for some women, it doesn't really hit until we're like 50 maybe. And so then we start thinking like, oh, it's menopause. Menopause does change things for us. Women have to get very strategic around that time. You can absolutely lose weight in peri, post, middle of menopause, doesn't matter. I've helped women take weight off in all phases of menopause. It's totally doable. Yes, it takes a little bit of finesse and strategy. And no, it's not from starving. Okay. But here's the deal. It's not always just menopause. Sometimes it's because we've done things that slow our body down and we need to build it back up. And there is no getting around that. So those are the 2 hard and fast rules about keeping weight off versus just losing weight. So when you see people who are following weird diets or crazy strict programs and they're rapidly losing weight and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to try that. My friend is losing 20 pounds in a month, blah, 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 blah. I'm here to tell you that person is not just losing fat. That person's also losing muscle. They're losing water. They're doing things that are going to slow down their body. And they're most likely following some sort of a program that they're not going to stick with forever, which all means that for all the cool things that you see happening for that person, and I wish that this wouldn't be true for them because I would love to lose weight rapidly also, they're going to turn around and put it back on. You've probably done it yourself. And if you haven't, I have, and you've seen friends do it. If you haven't personally done it, where it's like the weight loss is coming off rapidly, but then in a couple of years, all the weight is back on and they're having to do it again and they're having to do it again. And every time you do that to your body, you make weight loss harder in the future. So your future self, who also wants to be healthy and lean, would really like you to not do those things to your body today, just to see a number on the scale move rapidly. So have some long-term thinking to this and do what's going to heal and nourish your body and what's sustainable forever. So the 2 rules, let's recap again, because this is so, so important. You must be able to do forever whatever you're doing to take the weight off, and you must not crash your metabolism in the process of losing weight. Does this make sense, you guys? I really hope that it does. I hope that this gets you to shift your thinking if you are on a weight loss journey. If you are and you need help, reach out. You guys know the 12-week Keep It Off Academy. It's always open. but my schedule to talk about it is the only barrier. Sometimes that starts getting full. So if and when you decide you want to take a peek at that, go to nikkioday.com/keep it off. There's a video on that page. If you scroll down a little bit, watch the video. If you're like, yep, that is what I need a keep it off plan because I'm done with this nonsense. Then there's an application right below the video. You fill out the application. It's going to ask you like 5 quick questions, I think it is. That's just going to help us figure out what your body needs a little bit quicker. It's going to link you to my calendar. You pick a time for us to talk. If it's full, shoot me a message on Facebook because sometimes that does happen where I've pulled the calls down because I have too many for the week. So if that's the case for you, fill out the application. It takes you to the calendar. There aren't any available dates. Shoot me a message. We'll figure something out. But this is literally what I do with people every single day is figure out what does their body want? How can we get them a forever plan that is repairing their metabolism instead of harming their metabolism so that they can keep weight off. But if you're going it alone, that's fine too, but make sure you're following both of those rules of keeping weight off, and I will see you guys next week.